what does cowboying your way through standards mean?
Yeah, this is a fun thing to talk about. It means trying to find ways to make the standardization process, the international standardization process work, because it doesn't always work.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Rob, for inviting me here today. I would say being here with me, but I am actually in your hosted space. And it's a great honor to be up in Amsterdam with you today. And thank you for taking the time to sit down with me and talking about the pursuit of good tech.
Great. Welcome to the SIG office. We're happy to have you here. We're honored. So let's go.
Thank you. Well, Rob, for people that don't know you, I'd love for you to give a little bit of introduction of yourself. And I always ask my guests to give their own introduction because I find that people, being a speaker myself, I get really tired of listening to my boilerplate introduction. I actually like when someone asks me to introduce myself because it gives a little bit of my intention and headspace for the day, depending on how I've done that introduction. So,
yeah,
would love to hear. Who are you? Who's Rob? What do you do?
I'm Rob Veer. I'm 56 years old. I am a computer nerd. Always have been a computer nerd. Did information science and went into AI. Really long time ago, 33 years ago. Yeah. I was always fascinated by AI and robots and computers and programming at a very young age. And it became my profession, making AI systems, becoming an AI entrepreneur. Did that for 18 years. Then after some other jobs, I landed here at SIG, which is my best professional time ever, because we are making an impact on the world, setting standards, helping clients with making better software, letting AI work for them. And that's where my passion comes from. That's me.
I like it. So today we're going to be talking about In Pursuit of Good Tech, and I want to give us a little bit of a context for that, and then we're going to dive in. The concept of In Pursuit of Good Tech comes from philosophy. I'm a philosophy nerd. You're a computer science nerd. I'm a philosophy nerd. But the basics, back to the essential foundations of ethics. Ethics is the practice of pursuit of the good life, meaning when we make decisions and actions in alignment with our values, we're getting closer to what is our good life. And our good life might look a little different person to person, but the whole intention of that is I know my values and I'm making decisions in alignment with that. Now, when we carry that over into the world of AI, we get to this concept of in pursuit of good tech, as I like to call it, where we, one, make decisions and actions around our technology to bring it to its fullest potential in a way that is reflective of what matters, but then also looking at how we can actually use tools like AI to help us better align our decisions and actions with our own values. So supporting our own good life. So there's a couple layers there, but it all comes down to what do you value? What matters?
Yes.
So to kick us off, I actually want to call back a little bit of a side conversation that we've had before. And we talked a while back about standard setting and how you've been in this space for quite a long time, but you started early days AI and now you're setting standards for it. And I had never heard someone describe the standardization as cowboying your way through standards. And I love that. So what does cowboying your way through standards mean?
Yeah, this is a fun thing to talk about. It means trying to find ways to make the standardization process, the international standardization process work, because it doesn't always work.
Yeah.
It's designed to be inclusive, so everybody can join in and everybody can talk. And it's designed to, represent consensus in the end, which is important, which is why I am involved in standardization. And it's not just creating the standards that are linked to, regulations and laws. What I find much more important is the process of creating this consensus and then sharing this, because there's a big need for consensus on, for example, how you engineer AI systems, which is what I worked on based on the work we did here at SIG, which is a sort of an engineering framework for developing AI systems, which eventually became ISO 5338. But there's a whole process to make that happen. And the process itself is quite painful, I have to say. There's a lot of red tape. There's a lot of listening to people with different opinions, and that's good. That's the whole purpose. We need different opinions, but sometimes it gets a little bit too much, and it's hard to channel all these voices into something useful. So it's often sort of death by committee that happens. You need to find compromises, and if you compromise too much, you get a standard that just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So the cowboying I did with ISO 5338 was creating a separate, smaller group with the people that turn out to be the most motivated, and work separately from the main working group, but cycling back to the main working group, getting their approval, because that's for inclusivity. That's necessary. But it's not an encouraged process to make this separate, smaller group.
Yeah.
But it worked really efficiently, and I wanted to work with universities on this AI engineering framework. So it's a standard on AI lifecycle, right? It's about how you design AI systems, how you test them, and how you apply software lifecycle best practices to it. So I wanted to work with universities that are doing stuff in this direction. But I couldn't, because the university professors and the PhDs needed to first become a member of the national body and then pay a fee, and they just don't do that because there's no incentive.
Yeah.
For them, they want to write papers. They do want to improve the world, but going through all the motions of being part of this standardization process is difficult.
Yeah.
So what I did is I wanted to share the draft with them, but the standardization organization said, no, you can't do that. It's confidential. They can't share it. So I organized sessions in the basement of an hotel where I brought all these experts together that, didn't want to make the effort of joining the standardization work. And we just put the standard on screen, and we spent entire days going through it and getting feedback. I said to them, this is not going to be online. This is going to be face-to-face. I'm going to put it on the screen. You're not going to take any pictures, and this is how we're going to work. So that's what I mean with cowboying, sort of improvising on this process to make sure it happens. And the process took 2 years, much quicker than a standard usually take with this type of topic. And I'm quite happy with the result. But the crazy thing is that most of the content came from this smaller group, like 90%. But we definitely needed the approval and the input from the other voices, because if you do this too much in separation, you don't get consensus. So by using the advantages of the inclusive process, we could make it work. And a similar thing I've done with the ISO 27019, which is the AI security standard. We didn't have sufficient experts in the working group. The same goes for the AI Act security standard that I'm working on. And what we did is here in SIG, we developed a security threat model, and we brought it into the working group. We donated it basically, but not directly, because SIG is not a liaison. But I set up a liaison partnership between Sensenelic, which is the standard creator here in Europe, together with Etsy, and OWASP. And OWASP is this large application security community. Tens of thousands of security practitioners are working there on open source project. I started an open source project, set up the liaison partnership, and we put in the SIG AI threat model there and donated it as a contribution. So by doing this cowboying, we were able to share this and also open up sort of the global conversation on AI security, because everybody can join this OWASP project, including the academics and the startups, people that usually don't have the time to be in the standardization group, and provide contributions. And we provided more than 100 pages of contributions to these standards, which are becoming the international standards on AI security. So by respecting the rules, but sort of cowboying a little bit around it,
Yeah.
we were able to make things happen.
I'm imagining you all sitting in the basement in cowboy hats and boots and going, all right, we're getting down and dirty right now.
Yeah, it felt exciting.
I'm sure it did. I'm curious, what would you say was the value, like the driving value underneath that brought that cowboy group together? Because it's not what you would think of as a typical driving force when it comes to standards. Standards, it feels like, oh, I'm thinking by the book and I have to go exactly step by step by step. And then you're here going, well, we kind of cowboyed. We followed the protocol, but we added this little cowboy out from the side, and that actually is what helped move it forward. But you had to pull people into that. You had to pull motivation and these different expertise and thoughts. And I mean, that's a lot of work as well to put in.
Yeah.
What do you think brought people together?
I think it was because of a drive to share what we've learned with the world through this standard. And we just observed that it wasn't going to happen in the usual way. So we had to. It was not that we are cowboys by nature and want to break the rules. No, it was necessary. So the goal of really putting out something that works is what drove us and what typically drives me. I mean, we all, of course, want to make our dents in the universe, leave a legacy. So it's we all can relate to this, I think. But in this case, so everybody has their own affinities and experience that they can use for the better and share with the world. And we all try to do that. But in the case of AI and engineering and security, that's kind of a big theme now. I mean, currently a lot is happening there. So it also felt that we were doing something quite timely and important for society.
Yeah.
So there.
The reason I love this term cowboying and this whole process that you have is, for me, it sounds very similar to how early days of AI, more entrepreneurship, I won't say necessarily the technology, but AI entrepreneurship felt like that. We are part of something new, something great. We're going to see the standard way of working, let's say just standard software, and we're going to try something a little bit different. We're still going to come back into the same market and ecosystem, but we're going to try something a little bit different because we're passionate. We have an idea of how to make a dent on the world. And here you are describing the standardization of AI process, which seems a lot less shiny than the AI, but still having that, no, we're here to make a dent, and that excitement that comes with it. I've never heard someone describe AI standardization that way, which is why I love the little cowboying.
Yeah, and I wouldn't recommend cowboying everything
no,
in
definitely
life.
not. No.
Especially AI. We see a lot of organizations cowboying AI, and please go ahead and do this. Explore, but do this responsibly and be ready to come back to your original ideas and say, that wasn't a good idea.
Yeah.
That needs to happen a lot more. And we focus on software engineering. Software engineering is my expertise, together with AI and security. And now with AI agents creating code, vibe coding, all these people are trying a lot, and it's getting out of hand.
Yeah.
And my current focus next to the AI security standard is helping organizations with proper guardrails on controlling the quality of their work, because IT has become much more unpredictable to the business, and it's delivering value. But what about the long-term effects? Mm-hmm. And so we try to provide measurement tools that show the quality of this software and the maintainability and the security of it, because there's no best practice in place anymore to keep that in check.
Yeah. I want to touch on something there too about the parallel between this cowboying. I know we'll move on from cowboying in just a second, but this parallel between the cowboying and the purpose and intention of responsible AI and governance practices. So you've got responsible AI and governance that sets kind of like that larger committee. It sets the protocol. We know the practices that we need to go through. It doesn't mean that we can't cowboy out and experiment, because this technology, it still needs a lot of experimentation, but then it gives it a framework, a structure, a skeleton to put it back into, so that not only we're making sure that it's secure, that we didn't vibe code something unintentionally that we don't want there, but that it actually has a purpose, a business value that's driving it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I like that kind of parallel over of there's still space to experiment. There's a lot of space to experiment, but having these standardizations just creates a great reference point and base that we come back to make sure that we have something usable at the end of the day.
And governance is normally or often associated with controlling.
Yeah.
But like you say, the cowboying also needs to take place because you need to innovate.
Yeah.
So it's from a governance perspective, I see that organizations need two hats. Like one from the typical person that says, no, you can't do that, and let's make sure that we obey the rules. And the other is, go ahead and try.
Yeah.
I won't tell anybody, but you need to stay within these lines. And I know CISOs that have a very innovative sort of mindset.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. But I also know CISOs who have a very much more restrictive mindset. And if you make those people in charge of AI governance, it becomes much more of a restrictive thing.
Yeah.
With the big risk of getting ignored by the organization. So these two hats, allowing the cowboying, allowing the 1,000 flowers to grow in the organization, and hope that something great comes out of that. That's it's a balancing act.
Yeah. It's a value of balancing, which I think nowadays with AI, this is a value and theme that continues to come back into conversations, for me at least. It's all about balancing. It's a risk and reward. AI goes in both directions. How do we figure out between the two how to walk that line right in between? Not an easy process.
No.
But I mean, you've been around in the space far longer than me, so I'm sure you're sitting here going, "Yeah, you have no idea."
Well, I was in Dubai at the Machines Can See conference during the AI week a couple of months ago. And they are very forward-thinking and invest a lot of money. And everything in the AI week was about opportunity and possibilities. And I was doing sort of the sobering talk, which we also refer to as, thank you for your talk, very sobering, but inspiring nonetheless, because I was talking about risks.
Yeah.
So, and I was talking about taking environmental responsibility, and people in the audience were like, come on, we just want to go ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
And that, I think that was a good illustration of this balancing act. And I show headlines at the beginning of my talk where I have this beautiful future with, everybody's happy and green grass and windmills and happy AI future. And then I shift to the same headlines with sort of a burning earth background. And I try to recommend people to sometimes shift the view to what can go wrong.
Yeah.
Just occasionally, because I believe that the AI initiatives that do this will be the most successful, because they will not be dealing with the repercussions in the long run and with compliance issues. And if you have a mindset of continuously being successful with AI, that doesn't work, because you need to be able to kill your darlings and to conclude that this is not going to work in an early stage, because otherwise you're set up for failure.
Yeah. I've got a question for you in terms of establishing the business value of governance, because a lot of these governance practices, it takes a while to see the benefit of them. They start working early on, but the long-term significant value, it's happening on a longer time frame than necessarily throwing up a quick AI use case and getting a few people happy. So how do you, first of all, set up to be able to measure that long-term value, but then also convince key stakeholders, get everyone on board of, yes, we need to do this governance. It will help us in the short term, but it will really pay off in the long term for us. How do you get that bigger long-term picture thinking in a field that is very much looking at short-term turnaround?
Yeah, one part of it is still sort of you have the carrot and the stick, and it's still the stick part, which is trying to prevent failure.
Yeah.
And for that, I present examples of failed initiatives, including larger government initiatives in the Netherlands, that in hindsight could have been prevented if you just simply would have looked at the risk that you're getting into. Ask two questions, like how about bias in the data set, for example? Have we looked into that? And then it becomes clear for the business that they need to go through a couple of steps before they take an initiative, because otherwise you can be out of business. Second, going through a couple of steps for responsible AI is part of a larger process where you go through all kinds of steps, not just responsible AI, but also, have we done something like this before? No. Are other departments working on this? How can we connect this initiative to this other initiative? You know, going through the motion of a typical innovation project where you also have this checklist. And so letting every AI initiative going through a process, that's an easy thing to sell, because everybody understands, you know, not related to responsible AI, we have a bunch of other things we need to check.
Yeah.
And then you can bring in those checks to prevent any disasters. But also, if you can perhaps point a certain innovation idea in a slightly different direction, you can be much more successful. And that's also looking at the the human rights impact and data protection impact. That also lets you realize a couple of things. If we do this, we can do the same, but we'll avoid those issues and bring you further. And examples work the best.
Yeah. I also noticed, even just with that last example that you were given, or that you were giving there, that when you can ask these questions, you can shift the innovation and the innovative thinking just slightly to make a better solution at the end of the day. For me, I'll call it my silver bullet of responsible AI questions always goes around, did you ask the end user how this works for them? And there are so many instances that the engineers, bless them, go, oh.
Oh, yeah.
No.
That's such a good question.
And it's so simple. That one's not complicated, but we get really excited about building this technology, and it's fascinating. It's complex to build, that we can almost forget at the end of the day, if you're making, say, a text-based AI interface for someone that cannot use their hands and has to use speech because of their profession, say like they are working on a train line or something, and it's supposed to be a security reference, so they're making sure that they're following security protocol. A text-based interface where they have to take their hands off of the thing that they should not have their hands off of to interface with an AI is not going to work. They need a speech-based one. And something as simple as that.
Ouch, yeah.
Exactly. Wildly different. We go from an innovation project that's not going to get past the project phase to something that really could be a solution to seriously help people in moments of even panic. And it's just one question, slight shift in that innovation.
And that is a perfect example of something, as an example that would, motivate businesses, leaders to, let's go through a couple of motions before we really go ahead with something.
Yeah. So I know we're talking a lot about risks. We're going to balance it out a little bit here. But I'm curious, what got you so excited and inspired back when you first started in AI? What pulled you into this space? Because clearly, well, I'm going to make an assumption here. It probably wasn't you sitting there going, wow, there's so much risks. I'm so excited for this space. There had to have been something else that pulled you into AI.
Yes, not the risks. No, it's the opportunity, indeed. I always like to create software. I was fascinated by robots and AI. And I felt that this could make a difference to society for the better. And I also felt it was cool. I mean, coolness is hard to grasp, but it just felt like a cool thing to work on.
You just know. When you're cool, so you know.
Exactly. and of course, building AI systems is quite challenging, and it combines affinity with mathematics, linguistics, and software engineering. And those are all topics that appeal to me. So yeah, the technological challenge, the fit with my favorite topics, and the opportunity to make a difference with creating this technology. And we did. We applied AI to all kinds of things, but the most prominent thing that we applied it to was law enforcement.
Yeah.
Trying to predict crime. And I learned a lot about responsible AI. I learned that a good idea at the time can turn out to be a terrible idea in hindsight.
Yeah.
So if you build a system to predict criminal careers and everybody feels like this is for the better, it's good for society, you can guide these people to sort of take the right path and not the wrong path. But then we've learned that, there's systemic bias in the data that you're using. Mm-hmm. So you're reinforcing this systemic bias by paying attention to specific groups, but you're leaving out other groups. You should change your approach. And that took many years just to realize. And also because back then the consensus and the state of the art wasn't that evolved when it comes to fairness and responsible AI. And I learned a lot from that, to be really careful and forward-looking when you engage with a new AI idea, because it might not be a good idea in the long run.
Yeah. And I mean, frankly speaking, that's entrepreneurship. At the end of the day, when you start building something, maybe a great idea in theory, but you can't get attached to it too hard, because once you have it out in the world and once you start seeing how it works, it may quite quickly turn out to go, oh, that wasn't quite what we wanted, or that wasn't good in the end.
And maybe that's the key, or at least a key to AI success, is not being too attached to your initiatives.
Yeah.
And being able to exit and realize that, okay, we perhaps shouldn't do this, and have a culture that supports this.
Yeah.
And builds this mandate to fail.
Yeah. It's funny. We started off in the AI space with the move fast and break things, and yet we seem to get married to one way of doing things in AI, or one specific type of solution that's on the market. We have one way of doing social media, for example, and multiple social media platforms, but they all hinge around the same, more or less, recommendation algorithms and idea of you're connecting. But we're married to this, whereas there's other cases where we bring an AI product to market, or we bring a solution and it's not the right fit. And to understand that that's okay, and we can adjust it. We're not going to be right the first time. But
yeah. And you need to be able to kill your darlings.
Yes. So thinking about that, we'll call it ability to change and adapt. You've said a couple of times that you are in this career, you're in this space because you want to make an impact, you want to make a difference. How has that impact, that desired impact, changed from when you started? You wanted to get into AI to make a difference, to now, as you are still very much deep into the space of AI, but you're focused more, you've got this great focus on the standardization, this global standardization. So I'm guessing that you might have a little bit of a change in terms of what difference you wanted to make.
Yeah, indeed, I did. I like to say that I made all the mistakes in my career, and now I'm a consultant to help other people not make those mistakes. And it's the truth. I mean, I've learned so much about security by failing, so much about responsible AI by failing, so much about how to create great software, how to put good teams together, also by failing and retrying and succeeding. And this experience, now being part of Software Improvement Group as a consultant helping clients, is just super rewarding. Mm-hmm. That's a big shift from me. So 13 years ago, when I joined the company, I shifted from a builder to a consultant, and I had some prejudiced ideas about what consultants do.
I think we all do, until we become one.
Until we become one, and it's just it fits me really, really well. And so the shift is from making all the mistakes to helping others, trying to prevent those mistakes.
I like that. I feel like that's a really good shift and a natural part of the life cycle, I would say. even.
Indeed, it feels like that. Yeah.
So looking back, I mean, clearly you still have far more work to do and far more impact to have, but looking back over the years, what would you pull out as some of your driving values? We had that kind of roll up your sleeves and bring impact through that cowboying aspect. You were very much a builder early on. Now you're rolling up your sleeves and helping other people have their impact. What would you say were those driving values for you that have brought you success in your own career?
I think it is the rolling up your sleeves itself, taking responsibility by, if you have something to offer to the world, to offer it. Mm-hmm. And of course, we all want to, make a difference. But to me, it's extra strong because I was a computer nerd from day one. I was the only one doing programming. I was making operating systems when I was 14 years old, when nobody was doing this. And it wasn't cool at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it was irritating to others. I was bullied a lot in school, and that sort of helped shape me to wanting me to prove my worthiness.
Yeah.
And that became a mechanism to cope with that. And I sort of am making use of that.
Yeah.
And it's a curse, but it's also a blessing because it creates a lot of drive to make things work. Mm-hmm. That and the fact that the things that I specialize in coincidentally now are becoming main themes for society, really. Yeah. It's not just a detail. It's big. That's why I feel, okay, I have this relatively unique combination of long experience with software, AI, and security. I'm in a position now at a company that can make a difference and be involved in standardization and work with a lot of clients around the world. I should make use of this.
Yeah.
So with great power comes great possibility. I don't mean it in an arrogant way. It's just a coincidence that I'm now in this position now, and I should make use of it, and that's what drives me.
Yeah. I can definitely empathize with a part of your story. I got into AI ethics when it really wasn't the cool thing at all. It was a very niche conversation.
Yeah.
I was just very stubborn. I loved it and focused on it, and then have now been experiencing as it becomes one of the driving forces and focuses of AI, this whole ethics and responsibility space, that it just so happens to be this is a defining topic.
Yeah, great.
And I get people asking all the time, they're like, how did you predict this? And my answer is, I didn't. I was stubborn. I just really was a nerd
I
and
love that.
wanted to do it.
Yeah. Doesn't it feel great?
It does. It's a little bit of like, see, I was interested in it. There was some reason, and I just had to wait the time out to see what that reason ended up being. And it's still unfolding, as I'm sure you're experiencing too.
Yeah, and it's hard to let go, right? I mean, it feels like a calling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely grateful I found my calling early and I'm able to keep pushing it. And I feel like I have little pieces of my life that continue to work their way into this calling in the most unexpected ways. We were talking before about speaking professionally. I've always loved speaking. It was just one of those things. I took a speech class in middle school. And I gave talks on how to clean your room, I gave a talk on my grandparents not being able to get their phone off of airplane mode for about a month. Really ridiculous topics, but I loved the process of speaking. And then to have that come back and work its way into my career as being a really defining skill set has been so rewarding to go, oh, that made sense why that was part of my fascination before.
It's almost a coincidence. Right? Yeah.
And it sounds like you've got an amazing coincidence of all these different pieces crossing over into the perfect point in time.
Yeah. I think the big challenge then is, of course, to make things happen, but also not to burn out.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So let's take it easy, shall we?
We'll get a coffee. We'll take it easy.
All right.
In that spirit, I've only got 2 questions left for you. So first one is back towards responsible AI and governance. And you were talking about how before, as a computer nerd, you weren't cool back then, and now you're very cool. What piece of advice would you give an organization that is looking to start to implement these standards, but I'm gonna give a little bit of an edge to that. What piece of advice would you give them to make it cool, something that people are excited to do and work with?
Oh, that's a good one. Making it cool, of course, examples and pointing to perhaps competitors shows that, okay, guys, we need to do something, can create energy.
Yeah.
Making it doable is also part of, I think, incentivizing people to go ahead. And that is saying that AI is not to be treated as something really separate with its own framework and its own department and business unit. It is everywhere. So we need to build on everything that we already have, like the information security management system and the governance that we have in place and our regular software engineering cycle. Don't be overwhelmed, people. It's just, there are just some attention points from the work that we're already doing. And that takes away some of the fear that people have with change.
Yeah.
It is a change, but it's not a breaking point or anything. It's just we need to extend what we're already doing. And examples work the best, and examples in the workplace itself, in the organization, they're the very best. So create something that works and show to the people what it does, and then it gets cool because you set an example by letting a couple of people in the organization build something great, and that's inspiring.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Last little inspiration piece now. So we started off with my little bit of a monologue around In Pursuit of Good Tech. So I want to bring it back around because we've been talking about all of these different ways where we are surfacing different values, how you've been making those decisions and actions off of those values, how those values have driven your work and the impact that you've strived for. So let's bring it back to, we're talking about pursuing good tech. In your own words, what is good tech?
Oh dear.
I know, very heavy question.
Obviously, there's no such thing as good tech. There is, in a way, it's how you use it.
Yeah.
So from there, good tech is technology that invites or enables and allows good use. So it's not just the tech, but it's also everything around it and how it fits into society. I mean, is nuclear physics good tech? Hard to tell. Is the internet good tech? Well, that's open for debate.
Yeah.
It's brought us a lot of good things and a lot of bad things. So good tech is technology that invites good use and also is experiencing that good use. And yes, there will be bad use and it will be used by adversaries. You can't prevent that. So good tech is not just the tech, but also the manual and our habit of using it. That's all I can come up with right now. But
I think it's a good one.
Okay.
That is a great definition. And I like that it calls out that balance of we will always have adversaries, but we're inviting the opportunity, we're creating the opportunity for good use and then following through on it. I think that's something that often goes underappreciated, that we will always have that balance. We can't ever design AI that cannot be misused. It just doesn't work like that.
No.
It's up to us to follow through on the good use of it that we're creating.
Yeah, just like with deepfakes. I mean, it's
Yeah.
I think a good example. There's just no way you can make that technology unable to abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean we can't try, at least to encourage that good use a little bit better, though.
I agree. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Rob. If people want to reach out to you, where should they find you?
I'm at robvanderveer.com.
Easy.
And you can reach me through there. Watch our work on helping organizations doing vibe coding and using AI to create code. Watch the upcoming AI Act security standard, the 27090 ISO standard. OpenCRE, which is what we created to connect all security standards in the world into one resource. It's getting a new version out. And the SRG AI Readiness Guide is a small book I wrote that helps organizations very pragmatically to go through a couple of steps to implement AI governance and AI literacy based on the way that they're already working. Very pragmatic. It's free for download. I recommend everybody to check it out.
Perfect. Well, thank you. Make sure we'll get all the links in there so people can easily find you. And thank you, Rob, for joining me today.
It's been great. Thank you.
For having me here, I should say, the other way around.
Again.
Thank you.
Thank you.